All right, so hello. My name is Raylan Jeffers, and this is my final due December 8th, 2020. And guess what? Today is my birthday, so let's get started, guys. Today, we're going to be describing the process of assessments in each of the following areas: intelligence, academic performance, language, perceptual functioning behaviors, physical development, and social emotional functioning. So, before we get into the process of assessments, let's talk a little bit about the initial evaluation. Oh, I'm sorry. That's my 1 year old. Don't mind her. She's a little busy. So, the IDEA contains mandates to promote fair, objective assessments, practice, and due process procedures. Due process is the legal recourse when parents or schools disagree with evaluation or placement recommendations. Initial evaluation. Parent state agencies or LEAs make initiated requests for initial evaluations, meaning multidisciplinary teams must conduct a full and individualized evaluation in all areas of suspected disability to determine if a child is eligible to receive special education and or related services. So, the comprehensive education evaluation must be completed before a child may receive special education and or related services. Reminder, this must be completed within 60 days. Standardized assessments is heavily applied in the education decision-making process, meaning educators must understand testing selection criteria, the basic principles of measurement, administration techniques, and the scoring procedures. All right, as you all can hear, Baby Shark is playing in the background, but that's okay. Let's talk about intelligence tests. The definition. Intelligence test attempts to measure your intelligence, that is your basic ability to understand the world around you, assimilate its functional or functioning, and apply knowledge to enhance the quality of your life. Intelligence tests are psychological tests that are designed to measure a variety of mental functions such as reasoning, comprehension, and judgment. So let's go ahead and discuss the purpose of this intelligence test. The goal of the hey. Oh no. Well, guys, someone's having a poopy diaper, but let's continue. So the purpose of this test is to obtain an idea of the person's intellectual potential. The test centers around a set of stimuli designed to yield a score based on the test maker's model of what makes up the intelligence. And intelligence tests are often given as a part of the battery of tests. When I think of academic performance, I always think of assessing, evaluating, and communicating. Now, let's talk about planning. What will the students learn? How will we know learning has occurred? How will we collect evidence of learning? When I think of academic performance, I think of informal, formal, formative, and summative. And this here helps the students to learn and practice and also assess students' performance. We want to clearly define and identify the learning outcomes. We would like to select assessment measures and assess the learning outcomes, analyze the results of the outcomes assessed, and adjust or improve the following results of the learning outcomes assessed. Some types of assessments. Curriculum-based assessments, which uses content from the curriculum to assess students' progress within a given topic in the curriculum. Like I said before in the last slide, summative assessment is a measure that is taken at the end of the instructional period For example, end of the chapter, end of the year test, things like that. It's pretty much considered to be an informal assessment. Now, curriculum-based measurements, they monitor the students' progress frequently by comparing students' progress with an expected rate of progress. Based upon the achievement goal for the year, this monitors the progress. This type of monitoring progress lets the teacher know if this child is making progress under the current educational conditions and make adjustments if necessary. It's considered a formative type of evaluation. Language assessments measures a student's understanding and use of language. You have receptive language, which is the inner language concept applied to what is heard. Expressive language, language skills used in speaking or writing, and then you have reading language. And that's understanding the language concept and using them in writing. Other language assessments. So let's go over a few. Peabody Picture Vocabulary Test 4, and that measures the student's verbal comprehension. Expressive vocabulary test measures a student's expressive vocabulary by asking the students to name a picture or provide a synonym for a picture. Test of Language Development, Primary 4th edition, it measures language development. They have a subtext included: pictures vocabulary, relational vocabulary, oral vocabulary, and a few others, so I'll say etc. Test of Language Development, Intermediate 3rd edition. It's an aid in the diagnosis of students with language problems. Subtests include sentence combining, picture vocabulary again, word ordering, generals, and the list goes on. What is perceptual assessments? Visual information processing is the ability to interpret what is seen. It is vision that directs action. Assessments of visual perception and cognition is varied and diverse. Basic elements of perception assessment battery include the following: the motor free visual perception test, and that is the multiple choice test that's required for individuals to point to an appropriate response. And that test contains items in 5 categories of visual perception. Then you have the picture completion, that's based on a subtest. It's for like the adult intelligence scale test, and that test is a perceptual discrimination in which the individual must identify the most important missing element in each series of sketch figures. Perceptual assessments of voice and speech disorders. Auditory perceptual assessments, also considered as APA, of the patient with communication disorder is a basic skill that phonometricians and speech-language pathologists should develop. Behavioral assessments. The purpose: it increases the academic engaged time, the time when the student is actively involved in the learning process. Behavioral challenges are to be addressed within the 3-tier structure. Teachers are required to document interventions and their efforts prior to special education's referral. Well, guys, while we're discussing behavioral assessments, I'm actually having some type of behavior issues going on here with my 1-year-old, but let's disregard that until this is finished. Behavioristic principles. Behavioral intervention strategies are based on a clear understanding of why a behavior occurs. Got me to thinking. I wonder why my 1-year-old behaves the way she does. A lot of redirecting going on here. Tier 1 interventions. So, implement interventions with consistency and integrity. Utilize positive behavior support systems. Adults constantly implement school rules and consequences and rewards. Teachers believe and support the school's goals for improving behaviors. Tier 2 interventions include small group interventions, specific intensive efforts for students who are at risk, And data may be collected through functional behavior assessments procedures. Some of these examples include monitoring, earning rewards, and small group instruction. So, let's discuss the physical development. Say hi, my name is Micah, and we're going to talk about the physical development assessment for early childhood. Let's think, why is this important, or why is this assessment needed? So in the earliest years, children developed a rapid rates in areas like cognitively, socially, emotionally, and physically. So in order to adapt to learning goals and designs and learning experiences for these ever-changed dynamics, there must to be a way to assess development. Educators will work with parents and the pediatricians and other community resources to help children and families throughout these early stages of the childhood. I guess you guys are wondering why it's quiet in here. As you know, it's 1 o'clock and it's nap time, so I can continue my final in some peace. So social emotional assessments are not as common as the psychoeducational or gifted assessments. However, this does not mean that they are less important. In fact, they often complement psychoeducational and or gifted testing to provide a more comprehensive picture of a child's functioning. The types of psychological assessments is used to determine a child's personality as well as their perception of themselves, their family, and other people in their world. By understanding a child's inner world, feelings, and important issues in their lives, strategies may be suggested to improve and secure their psychological well-being and to facilitate healthy development. It must be noted that the assessment is not used to determine a child's cognitive functioning. Social emotional assessments may be recommended if your child experienced any of the following issues: significant anxiety, fear, sadness, or depression, difficulty regulating emotion, anger issues, explosiveness, aggression, poor self esteem, behavioral problems, incompliance, frequent conflicts, difficult connecting with peers. A child has been a victim of bullying or abuse by peers or adults. A child has been adopted and has experienced a conflict with the adopted family. A child has experienced a significant change or loss in their lives, like divorce, immigration, illness or death in the family, birth of a sibling, also loss of a pet. Social domains. It's best to understand social cues, resolving conflicts, and cooperation or cooperating. Thank you so much for this class. Thanks for all of the PowerPoints, the keynotes, and all of the assignments that you have us do. I actually learned a lot this semester. I'm really appreciative, and have a great rest of your year. Hopefully, I'll be able to um, get you as a teacher again because like I said, I've learned a lot.